Give this thing time to hear my bing, and then we're gonna go live. All right, there we go. All right, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this installment of the 19 Report coming to you live out of Manning, South Carolina. I got my Instagram pointed at my computer today. I guess I'm revealing a little bit of secrets that I don't want you to see, but I wanted you to see what I'm sharing with you today. So I want to share that. We are broadcasting live on Facebook at the 19 Report, on Facebook at the 19 Network, and on Facebook at, I think, what is the other one? The Music Man, if I'm not mistaken. We're also live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitter. So that's Instagram, 3 Facebook pages, YouTube, and Twitter. And even after being live on all of those pages, I probably get about 5 views. So you know there must be some form of dedication when you're not getting all of the attention that really I feel I deserve at this point by God's permission. But then sometimes I think too much attention will make me go sour. So I'll take it the way it is. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to share with you something so very valuable and to show you how sharing information actually helps us to grow and to find out new information. So today we're going to go into a picture that was sent to me. See if I can find this picture real quick before we get into the broadcast. That's the background. And be patient with me today because I got a lot of stuff going on. All right, this picture right here. I'm going to point at this picture of this extraordinary lady right here, Maud Colin. Maud Colin is was a wet nurse, a nurse, and also a very generous woman coming out of Florida. But she set up her practice in Berkeley County in South Carolina. And she is now in the museum of her story has been told in the museum in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So we want to go into this today. I thank everyone for tuning in. I guess we're over Valentine's Day. You celebrated the little white guy with the blonde hair and the butt naked going around with his wee out shooting love arrows at people. We talked about Lubricalia and the connection of Valentine's Day with the filth and the debauchery and everything else that goes along with it. So today we're going to try to get back into Black History Month. Thank everybody for tuning in. This is extraordinary, this story. So just tune in for a minute as we go through the intro, and then we will be right back. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions. All right, we are back. This is Jamil Talib Zamir, Brother Johnny, Groove 19 Promotions, Manning, South Carolina. Happy Black History Month. We're still here, still trying to share information, if you will. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to show you a picture. First thing I'm going to do is show you this picture, and I hope you can see it on Instagram. No, that's not the picture I want to show you. Let me take that one off, and let me try to add this one to the stream. This is the picture I want to show you. I got this picture from a friend of mine, good friend of mine, Douglas Mcrae out of Manning, South Carolina. He said that he thought that I would really appreciate the picture, the history of the picture. This gentleman in the picture is actually a member of the Mcrae family out of Manning, South Carolina, Henry and all the rest of them, Douglas Mcrae and the Thames family. This gentleman, because he sent me this picture, and I am I love black and white photos, and I love the story they tell. So when he sent me the picture, I said, wow. I said, this black woman is really comforting this man. We didn't know who the black woman was. We did know who the black woman is on the bed because of Douglas Mcrae, and her name is Tenny, and this is the mother. This is the mother of James Mcrae. James Mcrae and his wife used to live right next to where the old Burger King was, and it used to be the Hair Goddess salon. That house, we got a history in that place. We got a history in that house because their family really looked out for a lot of people coming through, and man, the youngins, we would go there, sit on the porch. We did our music there. We recorded there. That was our studio there. So James Mcrae and his wife, and I know her name and can't remember right now. Doug, if you happen to come on, man, just post it up for me if you will. So he showed me this picture, and the picture is of the headline says Maud Colin, centered in the middle, tenderly cares for an old chair-bound paralytic who is wiping tears from his eyes because he is so touched by her kindness. Now you can see the dedication in this woman's face and her desire to comfort this man. This picture was captured by William. Let me get his picture up here first, too. Let me get his picture up. This picture was captured by William Eugene Smith. Now, William Eugene Smith is a photographer. He's doing the kind of photography journalism that I love. William Eugene Smith is an international photographer out of the Hall of Fame, and he followed Maud Colin through her tenure, through her time taking care of the sick and those who could not afford to take care of themselves. So this lady in the picture, right, and this story is fascinating to me, and this lady in the picture is Maud Colin. This lady over here, this is Tenny. This is the mother of James Mcrae, the father of Henry Mcrae, and Rachel Bell, and who else? I know them all. Marianne Mcrae, and just all of the brothers of the Mcrae family. This is the mother. This is her brother. So this is the uncle of Henry and the rest of them out of Manning, South Carolina. And this picture was featured in Life magazine in 1950. Let me get it. Yeah. This picture was featured in Life magazine on December the 3rd, 1951. Now I'm going to go into the history of the picture. The gentleman in the picture, after Doug sent me the picture, I did research probably all night trying to find out who these people were. I called the Clarendon County Library, and they were a little rude, but that's okay. I was looking for a Life magazine to find out if they had Life magazines and history of Life magazines, and they didn't. The person on the phone was a little rude, but that's okay. That didn't stop me from trying to find the information by God's permission. So I kept on searching and found out that the man in the picture's name is Frank Mcrae. This is Frank Mcrae. This is the uncle of James Mcrae. This is James Mcrae's mother, who actually looks like Rachel Bell a little bit. Looks a lot like Rachel Bell, and also looks a lot like Marianne. The nose, you know, they all have that same nose and those lips and that round face with the forehead. Looks like Lee too, Lee Mcrae. This is also the great-grandmother of Lee Mcrae, great-grandmother of Lee Mcrae, great-grandmother of Douglas Mcrae, and, you know, a lot of the Mcrae family. So this right here, this gentleman is Frank Mcrae. This picture was taken in the 1920s. Look at that. So now I want to go into the history of this extraordinary woman. If you can, I want to go into the history of this extraordinary woman. This is for Black History Month. I thank everyone for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir. The reason I'm a little off today, because I got this camera in front of me. You can see the top of my phone. If I so much as bump that thing, it's gonna fall over. If I so much as move my leg, it's gonna pull the plug out. So I'm kind of stuck right now in the position that I'm in, and I got to talk from that position. So today we are talking about an extraordinary woman out of Florida, but she was relocated to Berkeley County. Now I want to read this first, then we got to show a video, then we're going to be done. The title of this in the Daily Mail, I don't even know the date on this. The date on this is 2013. The title of it is Labor of Love, Remarkable Photos of South Carolina Midwife who nursed 1950s community. Now, this was in the 1950s. He was born in the 1920s, Mr. Frank Mcrae. But these pictures were taken in the 1950s. Midwife who nursed 1950s community living in crippling poverty that inspired thousands of dollars in donations. Now, because of this man, Mr. My thing's moving slow. Mr. William Eugene Smith, who took these photos, and these photos were in Life magazine, and December 3rd, 1951. And because of his photos and the excellent job that he did with the photos, Miss Eugene received a lot of dollars, thousands of dollars in donations. And let me tell you what she did with the money. So we're going to go through this right now. Little bit. Give me about 30 minutes. I want to take my time with it. Labor of Love, remarkable photos of South Carolina midwife who nursed 1950s community living in crippling poverty that inspired thousands of dollars in donations. The work of Southern Carolina nurse midwife Maud Colin was documented in an extraordinary photo published in Life magazine in 1951. Legendary photographer W. Eugene Smith, as I showed, captured Colin as she delivered babies and cared for the elderly. Smith's photo essay is considered one of the best ever published in Life, and I agree. I mean, this Mr. Eugene Smith, his photography is extraordinary. He captures life the way I want to capture it from a realistic point of view. So I'm going to read a little bit of this, and I'm going to show you some of the photos. Then we're going to do a 10-minute video, and then we're going to shut down on this very important Black history moment. She was a doctor, dietitian, psychologist, bail goer, and friends to thousands of mostly African-American crippled by poverty in the 1950s. Now, all of her clients were not African-American. Some of them were Caucasian. I think I have a few pictures of them. Yet tireless South Carolina nurse midwife Maud Colin, who delivered hundreds of children and cared for the elderly and educated other midwife students in a 400-mile area veined with muddy roads, never considered herself a hero. Hers was a labor of love captured in these extraordinary black and white photographs taken by a legendary shooter, W. Eugene Smith, in Time Life magazine. Now, I want to show you some of these extraordinary pictures. This says, gripping image of Maud Claude caring for a young boy in South Carolina, 1951. This one was not published, but this was one of the pictures that he took. She stayed up all night long with some of these, stayed up day in, day out. Safe under her watchful eye, Maud Claude attends to a woman in labor. Maud Claude handing over 17-year-old Alice Cooper's son after a difficult birth. Now, this is without all the machines and all of that stuff. This woman, Maud Colin, received donations and kind letters from hundreds of people after Life published Smith's photography. Now, let me tell you what she did. You can go on this page, and here she is educating up and coming midwives and nurses. She did all this on her time. Again, her father was her parents died. She was adopted by someone who was a doctor. She trained in it, and then her lineage trained in it as well. I want to show you the video of this, but these are images of a woman tirelessly mixing potions and medicines to look after the poor. Very, very descriptive of images. And this is the one I was sent from Douglas Mcrae. That's Maud Colin rubbing the head of Frank Mcrae. This is the uncle of Henry Mcrae and who else? I'm sorry, my mind slips me. This is the uncle of the Mcrae family. Gosh, I can't remember. And this is his sister, who is the mother. Her name her name was Tenny. This is occurring in Berkeley, South Carolina. Historical picture. That picture was sent to Douglas from a family member. They didn't know the history of the picture. He sent it to me last night, and I traced the history of the picture. He didn't know the name of the uncle. Name now we have that is Frank Mcrae and Tenny Mcrae, brother and sister. This picture was posted in the Time Life magazine. I love the picture. I think I'm gonna print this out and put it on my wall. So now I want to tell you a little history about Mr. Frank, why that picture was taken and what was occurring in the picture. I gotta hold my notes a little funny because I don't want to hit that camera. But it says man in wheelchair is Frank Mcrae. He had a headache one day in 1927. Soon he was paralyzed and has been in a wheelchair ever since 1927. And these photos are taken in 1950. As Miss Maud Colin comforted him, came by to visit him in 1950, he broke down and wept when Maud stopped in to visit him. So again, he got a headache in 1927 and ended up paralyzed as a result of whatever was going on with the headache. You know that tuberculosis and other things were running rampant back then. Polio was paralyzing a lot of people. But Frank Mcrae, headache one day in 1927, soon was paralyzed and has been in that wheelchair ever since. These pictures were taken and they were posted in the December 3rd, 1951 Christmas lingerie fashion edition of Life magazine. And again, in the image, he's crying because the woman nurse came by to visit him, and she's comforting him by rubbing on his head. The level of illiteracy and lack of comprehension and things in the 1920s, in the 1950s, for a nurse to come and take care of. There you see her taking care of. It says underneath, this is a Caucasian lady living the same as we lived, pretty much. Healthy twins who were delivered a day apart by Maud Colin get a quick once-over when she stopped in to see them and pumped herself a drink of water. Only about 2% of her patients were white. Only about 2%, but this is one of the percent. And she pumped herself some water, but she delivered these babies. I'm going to have to complain to this streaming service because their streaming software is really getting kind of glitchy. But here she is in the picture with the white lady. And I wanted to specify that because, you know, people get a little funny. But I wanted to share this information too. See if I can get myself back on the screen here a little bit. This is the Maud Colin Clinic. It is uh, of course no longer operable, but one of the great things about history is discovering the unexpected. A heroic individual attached to a now quiet place, a legacy longing to be rediscovered. This ruinous structure along a quiet stretch of Highway 45 in Pineville, in rural Berkeley County, represents the life work of a woman who dedicated herself to helping the undeserved, underprivileged, and isolated residents of South Carolina. So this is in a rural area in Pineville. And Pineville and Berkeley County, I believe, are still considered a part of the corridor of shame, I-95 corridor, where illiteracy and other things are running rampant, and believe it or not, in 2022. But this is the building that she purchased with the money that she received because of the photos that were posted in the Life magazine by Mr. William Eugene Smith. So all of these things correlated to make something of value occur. Now, Marianne, again, Evelyn Daniel Colin, was born in Quincy, Florida in 1898, one of 13 children. She was orphaned before the age of 7 and subsequently raised by her maternal uncle, Dr. William J. Gunn. Colin was allowed to help care for her uncle's patients, and this inspired her to pursue a medical career. She attended Florida A&M University, and after graduation, she went to further her education at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, where she earned a nursing degree. She wed William Dewar Colin in 1921, and they moved to Pineville 2 years later so she could serve as a medical missionary under the sponsorship of the Episcopal Church, African Methodist Episcopal Church, the AME Church. This is the type of thing that was done during that time period. But this is the building, no longer available. But this is where she raised over. Said in 1951, she was featured in Life magazine, where the author W. Eugene Smith described her as the most fulfilled person I have ever known. White man talking. Because of the national attention the article provided, Colin received more than $20,000 in donations and they ain't even had Cash App back then. And $20,000 in donations to build a proper clinic, which is what we see today. While she retired as a nurse in 1971, at the age of 73, she still cooked meals for local senior citizens and provided a car service for the elderly. Dig that. The television show On the Road with Carl Currit profiled Colin in 1983 and stated, at 85, Miss Marge serves meals each weekday, to some 50 elderly residents, most of them younger than she is. And there she is, an extraordinary lady who did more than her share, who contributed more than her share, who never complained but kept on striving to help her people do better. Now, Colin received honorary degree from both Clemson University and the Medical University of South Carolina. A scholarship was established at the Medical University in her name, and a children's shelter, Colin Lacey, was partly named in her honor. This residential care facility opened in Monk's Corner in 1998. Now, I want you to see this, a dedication. 3 generations of Maud Collins' family unveiled her historical marker on November 8, 2017. Brandy Coffey of Charleston, 2017. Colin was awarded the Order of the Palmetto, the highest civilian award in South Carolina, and she was inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame. She also received the incredibly prestigious Jefferson Award for 1984, putting her in the ranks of such heroes as Eli Wiesel, Dr. Henry Kissinger, John Glenn, Bill and Melinda Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Justice Thurgood Marshall, fellow South Carolina Marianne Edelman, and a string of formidable politicians, presidents, and first ladies right out of South Carolina. Her honors puts her on the same level as Oprah Winfrey, John and Bill and Melinda Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Thurgood Marshall. This lady, Maud Colin. All of this information gathered because someone sent me a picture, and that picture told a history, a story of absolute, just an extraordinary story. So now I wanna share this video with you. It's a 10-minute video telling the history of Miss Maud Colin. My brain is moving so slow today. I apologize. Miss Maud Colin, again, that is an effect of the operations that I had. Sometimes my mind kind of slips away because my heart is trying to function, and then I have a collapsed lung as well, and it's trying to function. So sometimes I guess my body goes into taking care of myself, and I go off track a little bit. But this is Maud Colin. I had to do this story. And I want to play this video real quickly. It's a 10-minute video, and that's the reason I put up this my Instagram camera, so that the people on Instagram can see it as well, and hopefully you can hear it too.
The South Carolina Hall of Fame was founded in Myrtle Beach in 1973 to recognize and honor contemporary and past citizens who have made outstanding contributions to South Carolina's heritage, history, and progress.
In the early 1920s, for many South Carolinians living in Pineville and the surrounding countryside, finding adequate health care was a challenge due to its virtual non-existence. One courageous woman would single-handedly answer that challenge, becoming their angel in twilight, changing healthcare in Berkeley County forever. Maud Evelyn Callan was born in 1898 in Tallahassee, Florida. One of 13 sisters, she was orphaned at the age of 6 and raised in the home of her uncle, Dr. William Gunn, Tallahassee's first black physician. She studied nursing at Florida A&M University and Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. In 1923, she was called to Pineville, South Carolina, as a medical missionary, creating makeshift clinics wherever she could. Maud Callan was one of only 9 nurse midwives in South Carolina at the time.
Ms. Callan was very instrumental in bringing health care to this area. For some people, she was their doctor.
Very important to the whole community. She was everybody's friend, helping everybody, giving you a free shot, what you couldn't pay for. She was more than just a nurse. She was a doctor too. Because you didn't have to go to the doctor after you left her.
She was not only a nurse, she was a doctor. A lot of people that couldn't go to the doctor in St. Stephen. Miss Maud Callan was our doctor.
In 1936, Maud Callan joined the Berkeley County Health Department as a public health nurse, providing vaccinations and examinations, keeping records on children's eyes and teeth, and training midwives.
I've always said that she's the Mother Teresa of Berkeley County, because she gave so much.
She trained a whole lot of midwives that help others. Her legacy will pass on. I am a product of one of her midwives. And me and my brothers and ancestors are a product of Miss Maud Callan, midwife.
I do remember my grandmother just telling me the night in which my mother went into delivery, it was like, I guess, a little chaos there, but my grandfather went I don't remember if it was horse and buggy or with a truck, and picked up one of the local midwives that she had trained.
In 1951, Life magazine published a 12-page photo essay by prize-winning photographer Eugene Smith. This article generated thousands of dollars in contributions. Nurse Callan would use this money to support a modern health clinic next to her church in Pineville.
The article in this magazine really took her out of Pineville. Smith was an award-winning photographer, and he captured the essence. When I look at these pictures, I see he just captures the essence of the area, of the personality of Maud Callan. This is a classic shot here, delivery of a baby. And this is at 5:30 a.m. You know, the way Smith does this with the series of delivery, the pain of childbirth, the baby born, the mother comforting the daughter, and finally the baby arrives, and then Maud looking out, holding what looks like a Coke, and resting a while after more than 27 hours. These 2 pages tell a story about a childbirth. Yeah, here she has her bag and she has her lantern. She used to carry that lantern around with her because in many places, sometimes when she arrived, she had to have light because they had to go and find a lamp and light the lamp. What's interesting is that shot where she's walking over a branch, where the water's high after the rain, and you had to walk from one puddle, a high piece of dirt to another, then to a log, and then to something else before you got over it. That was always the problem. And I noticed she had that old Chevrolet or something that she drove. And I can imagine that many times she got in bogs, because I've seen so many of those cars, and they'd have to put hay and stuff under them to get them and rock them out. So it was really an ordeal that she handled so well.
This was the first baby she delivered. And he now is 86 years old, my brother-in-law.
But I born out with a sickly baby, a little baby. But some people say I ain't gonna live. But most of my baby could die. I said, yeah, you ain't gonna do good because you swore a little. But I live. I surprised them because I didn't die, I live. And I lived from then up to now. And Maud Callan was my doctor.
Today, at Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina, Maud Callan's niece, Juliette Dean Satterwhite, is a registered nurse at the Student Health Center. She recalls helping her Aunt Maud at the tender age of 5.
I can remember a time, even at that young age, her husband was sick, Richard Callan. We affectionately called him Uncle Dick. And she would allow me to give him medicine, his heart medication. I would have to check his pulse at that young age. She taught me how to do it with this being her alarm clock. I would watch for 60 seconds, count his pulse. And if it was 60 or greater, then I could give him the tablet. And that's exactly what I would do. And she would say, great job. One day you're gonna be a good nurse. And I was like, a good nurse? She told me that so many times I actually believed it and followed in her foot tracks.
Maud Callan retired from her clinic in 1971, but continued to serve the community as manager of the Senior Citizen Nutrition Council in Pineville. She delivered Meals on Wheels 5 days a week, as shown here in the 1983 CBS News segment, On the Road with Charles Corral.
She says she works part-time. Part-time to Maud Callan is from early in the morning until the middle of the afternoon.
Miss Carrie, I want you to get your plate, dear.
I've seen people in need so much, and there's so much to be done. I decided within myself that I was going to make some effort in order to help them to live a better life.
I can see in spirituality and the Christian way of life, that Maud Callan passed more than just medical help to this area. I have a wonderful congregation of Christian-loving people. And I think I know Maud Callan had a lot to do with that.
I visited when she did the nutrition center, and she was wonderful with those elderly people. She was just phenomenal.
Well, I always remember her for her kindness. You know, in my neighborhood, she did a lot of things for people. And she always said to me, don't give to the people that have, always give to the needy.
She really stepped up to the plate. She had that compassion to deal with people, and she saw the need, and she didn't let nothing turn her back. Nothing stopped her.
Maud Callan died in 1990. It is estimated she delivered between 600 and 800 babies, trained some 400 midwives, and brought health care to thousands. To them, Nurse Maud Callan was their angel in twilight.
She loved people. She would do anything for you. And she was just Maud Callan. She was.
All right, thank you all for tuning in. As you can see, I left the credit. The credit goes to the ETV Foundation for doing that video. Maud Callan. I want to read this again from her accomplishments. Maud Callan. I want to say this though. One of her sayings was, "When you do not feed those who already have, you feed those who don't have." It's just an example of how things have changed so much from that period of time where people believed in helping people because they needed it. People took the time out to go out and find the people that needed it. As you could see the picture of her walking over water logs and getting her feet dirty and doing the work until she died. She didn't quit. She didn't retire. She kept doing it. Today, those morals and values have changed so much. To feed the needy today means to get free food and just give it out to say you did it and post up that kind of information on the internet. We lost a lot of value in our history. We lost a lot of value in our purpose in life. But Miss Maud Callan's is the epitome, one who epitomizes desire and dedication and empathy and drive and tenacity and all of these elements put together. And she served the people, black, white, whoever needed serving. And her legacy and the legacy of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is now a lot of the African Methodist Episcopal churches, as you saw, have white pastors and bishops. She unified through her efforts. She built something of value through her efforts, left a legacy through her efforts. 3 generations now of Maud Callan's family unveil her historical mark on November 8th of 2017. I want to show that picture if I can. I think I got it. I want to add that to the stream. 2017, Callan was awarded the Order of the Palmetto, the highest civil award in South Carolina, and she was inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame. She also received the incredibly prestigious Jefferson Award for 1984, putting her in the ranks of such heroes as Eli Wiesel, Dr. Henry Kissinger, John Glenn, Bill and Melinda Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Justice Thurgood Marshall, fellow South Carolinian Marianne Wright Edelman, and a string of formidable politicians, presidents, and first ladies. That is an extraordinary lady Miss Marianne Colin, all of this information, all of it. And she taught over 400 midwives and nurses to do. So that's a legacy. That's wealth. One woman teaching over 400. One woman inspiring the church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. One woman raising $20,000 with the help of William Eugene Smith, a international photographer in the Hall of Fame. Raising that money and not buying a Cadillac, but keeping her old car and opening up a clinic. And there she is, this extraordinary woman that lived and died her purpose. There's no retirement out of this thing. And all of this stemmed from a picture sent to me from a friend that had a picture of his grandfather, great-grandfather, and no, great-grandmother and great-uncle. Pictured in the picture is Miss Maud Callens. The man in the chair is Frank Mcrae. Again, Frank Mcrae is the father of James Mcrae. They lived right there by the old Burger King. I think it's a title loan place now, the same place that Bonnie had her Bonnie Joe had her hair goddess hair shop. Same home, same bricks, same everything. The man in the wheelchair is Frank Mcrae. In 1927, he complained of a headache one day. Soon he was paralyzed and had been in that chair since 1927. This picture was taken in 1950 when Ms. Maud Callan came to visit him. She comforted him. You can see her rubbing his head. He broke down in tears from the love and caring and compassion from this woman. So I thank you all for tuning into this. Again, be on the lookout. I got to come back on today. I got to do a jukebox jam session on the music. And I got to tell you something about tonight. Something special is happening tonight and tomorrow. And it involves this day that they call Valentine. But it is the energy of God that is being sent to us. And if we use it correctly, we can mend some bridges, some broken bridges. We can find some things, and we can do some other things. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this information. This is Jamil Salib Zamir. I got so many phone calls. Now I got to try to return them. Thank you for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Thank you. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong. Took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone. And then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone. Solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one. Right to left counted, 9 and then 1. Left to right, switch it, 1 and then 9. West to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions.